So let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday was about a child having a tantrum and crying and things like that. So in short, feelings are safe. Crying is not disrespect. We're talking about something that gets misunderstood all the time in parenting. Basically allowing your child to feel what they feel. A lot of us were raised in homes where crying was too much. Being disappointed was dramatic, and getting upset meant you were, talking back, things like that. So now as adults, we're raising kids while trying to heal our own conditioning at the same time. But here's the truth. Your child's feelings are not misbehaviors. Feelings are human. Crying is human. Disappointment is human. We all go through it, even as adults. And none of those things equate to disrespect, okay? Excuse me. So the key point is when a child is upset, crying, or disappointed, do not attack the feeling. Address the behavior later after they're regulated. Because listen, when a child is dysregulated, their brain is literally in learning mode. They cannot process logic. They cannot follow directions. They just cannot reason. They just can't. And they cannot hear your lecture or corrections or even your super calm talking them through type things, Trying to reason with a child mid-meltdown is like trying to talk sense into yourself when you sitting in your car crying on your lunch break. I've done it before. And it's just not happening, I'm sorry, I got this. Hopefully I ain't getting sick. But ask yourself, when you are mad, overwhelmed, crying, things like that, do you want someone walking up to you and being like, calm down, you're being dramatic, you need to stop crying, fix your face, why you doing all that, and so on and so on and so on. Ladies, I know, because my biggest pet peeve, do not tell me to calm down. I hate that. But you don't want that. And most adults would get even more upset if someone did that. It's going to feed into it. So imagine how a child feels with way less emotional tools than we have. Hearing those things. We have the emotional tools. So now let's talk about the actual store situation, okay? Now, a child does not mean you're a bad parent if a child crying in the store. It does not mean you do not have control. It doesn't mean that you failed. It means your child is a human being who had a feeling and they expressed it. That's all that means. We have to stop parenting from embarrassment and start parenting from understanding. Because a lot of times people are so like, you're not going to embarrass me in the store. Crying is an embarrassment. It's not. It's natural. People judging you, they're either one, a parent who forgot what it felt like to have little kids, or two, people who never learned healthy emotional regulation for themselves, or three, people who also have kids who cry in the store. Either way, their opinions mean nothing. It means nothing. Your relationship with your child is what matters the most. That's all that really matters. So what we want to do instead, let your child feel what they feel. You can stay close, stay calm, stay supportive, but save the teaching for after they're regulated if you want it to be effective. Because regulation first, correction second is where the actual connection and learning happens. Here's 3 ways to teach or correct after the child is calm. You can, for one, replay the moment. Use simple language. Earlier you were really upset because you wanted the toy. Next time, let's practice using our words instead of screaming. Simple, straight to the point. You're not punishing, you're replaying and teaching. Then you have 2. Teach a replacement skill. Kids need alternatives. For example, when you're disappointed, you can say, I'm upset, I need a break, I feel overwhelmed, you could take deep breaths, hold my hand, little things like that. Children behave better when they actually know what to do instead. Sorry. And then another one you could do, just set a clear boundary. Once calm to the expectation. I'm not buying toys today in the store. Like, I know it's disappointing, but the rule still stays the same. Clear, cut, straight to the point. Calm, clear, consistent. You set a boundary, you showed empathy, and that's balance. That's really what it's about. That balance right there. So, in short, allowing feelings isn't soft. It's teaching emotional intelligence, communication, self-regulation skills that follow kids into adulthood. Because they need all those things. And crying is not disrespectful. Feelings are safe. Feelings are safe. And you're doing a good job. Just ride the wave. You got this.